Hello, everyone. I'm Sean.
This is Hoon.
And we are the Courageour Frights, back once again for another movie review.
Yes.
This time we're covering the DC masterpiece, The Flash.
The Flush.
38 years in the making.
Yes. 38 years in the making. 15 directors later.
15 directors, 400 rewrites.
Countless hours.
Countless hours wasted. In all honesty, this movie did take literally, 7 years to develop. It went through at least 3 or 4 directors.
Yeah.
Like 16 rewrites.
How many different times did they have to go back and reshoot things?
This movie's got to be like one of the most expensive movies ever made. I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure Warner Bros. Is lying about the budget.
They're not telling what the right budget is because that CGI they have in there, even though it looks like PS2, that costs money every time they do that.
Yeah.
And there's whole scenes where it's all CGI.
There's a lot of the movie that's all CGI. All right, so where to begin with The Flush? So
The toilet.
The toilet. This is Ezra Miller's career.
Which I think, wasn't there like an article they said that if they would have just did what they did with Batgirl and them and like...
Yeah, if they would have...
Right
they said if they would have scrapped the film, they would have made more money.
Yeah, which made sense.
Yeah. Okay, so this movie, as audiences might know from this introduction, we're not terribly big fans of this film.
No.
I will say there's some stuff I like. I don't completely hate it,
Yeah.
but we'll get to it. So the movie kind of starts with sort of a mini Justice League scene. We're treated to another out-of-focus distance shot of Henry Cavill's back.
Yeah, I think there was like one time in the movie where it kind of shows his face.
Yeah, but it's the PS2
Yeah,
CG
it's
face.
like the shirtless scene of him.
Yeah, from Justice
From
League.
Justice League.
So Henry Cavill is, again, non-existent. Batman gets some stuff. Batman's the only guy who gets anything to do, really.
And that's actually Ben Affleck Batman. Too.
Yeah, Ben Affleck has a lot to do. Well, not a lot. I guess he has a lot to do for the little bit of time he's in there.
I think he's like at least doing stuff.
Yeah, Gal Gadot shows up again
Like a
for
little cameo.
like another kind of
She's like, I'm here, and then
another
leaves.
little cheesy cameo.
Yeah.
They like using her for cheesy cameos.
Then I play that like that like Wonder Woman theme. every
Which
time.
I love that theme, to be honest, but some people think it's overplayed. I like it, but I just like that Wonder Woman period.
Mm-hmm.
We learn that Barry knows what sex is, but he's never experienced it.
Yes.
And then that scene moves on to another awkward scene.
It's just awkward scene after awkward scene.
Well, before that, we get the most awkward thing of all time, where he saves 7 babies that are falling out of a building.
One, he puts in a microwave that's on.
That he puts in a microwave, and then he also grabs
And then he turns it on.
terrible CGI dog.
Yeah, it's like it looked bad.
Like it looks like something from like one of the live action Inspector Gadget movies or something.
Or like Little Mermaid is a new one.
And he stacks them all up. Well, before that, we get like some of the best line delivery ever from Alfred, Jeremy Irons.
Yeah.
And he's like, a baby. He literally says that.
Baby.
And so there's a bunch of babies falling out of a hospital. Barry saves them all, puts a baby in the microwave. Then he stacks them all up on a stretcher. And when it's done, he stands there like a ta-da pose with all the babies.
Yeah.
And then the microwave dings,
And then the baby
meaning that he cooked the baby.
Yeah, and it was dead. Yeah, no dark turn.
And he opens up the microwave, but its baby's fine.
Yeah.
But the microwaves just don't ding unless you turn them on.
When you turn it on.
So there's that. Whatever. Then they do the Wonder Woman thing, and then they go to Barry's main plot point that every Barry Allen's same plot point with his dad in jail.
Yeah.
Because he killed his mom like 20 years ago or something, but then Barry knows he's innocent, but he can't prove it.
Yeah, that's actually why he's like a forensic scientist.
Right.
Because he's like trying to prove why his dad innocent.
Yeah, he's trying to prove that his dad's innocent, but then he gets really upset going back to the childhood home or whatever and remembering his mom being killed.
Yeah.
Who his his mom's like Hispanic now for some reason.
Yeah.
Even though I'm pretty sure Barry was like Jewish or something before, but okay. And then he runs really fast and he causes like the timeline to break.
Yeah.
Just for a bit, because he's able to poke his head out with the worst CGI since Love and Thunder.
Yeah.
And look around and see the babies again falling out of the sky. So he knows he went back one day.
That Speed Force or whatever starts showing up.
Yeah. And then while he's doing that, he encounters Dark Flash for like a second.
Yeah.
And then he jumps out of it. So he's back in the regular timeline again, like nothing happened. He goes and tells Bruce about it. And he's like, look, I could save my parents. I could save your parents.
Yeah.
And then Bruce Wayne's just like, no, you could also destroy everything.
Yeah.
So stop it. And then he's like, you just need to get out more, Barry. You need to hang out with people.
Yes.
And then Barry's like, oh, well, I could eat. You want to go get something to eat? And Bruce is like, no.
Yeah, no.
With you?
I don't want to be in this movie anymore.
Yeah. Ben Affleck's just like, hell no. He just gets in his car and drives away. Because Bruce doesn't want to be seen in public with Barry Allen.
Yeah.
And if he had done that, it would have potentially prevented the rest of the film from ever happening.
Yeah.
But
convinced him not to do it.
Right. But he's just like, look, you need to socialize with people. And it's like, do you want to hang out? And he's like, no.
It's like, no, I don't want such shit.
Why would I want to do that?
You?
With you, no. And then Barry, the next day, Iris West shows up again.
Yeah.
Oh, she showed up earlier or something. She's asking questions. She's covering the trial of Barry's dad. She goes to Barry's house, apartment, whatever. And like asking a bunch of questions about stuff. And then Barry, somehow the conversation comes up and then Barry figures out in his head that he can go back in time, but he can't prevent the stuff from happening directly because that's too much interference. But if he had just changed one thing.
Yeah, because I think, isn't like Iris say something about if there's one thing you could change or something?
Yeah, something like that. And then And then
Barry's like, I don't have to save him. I can do something to stop that from even happening.
Right. And we find out that the real reason what happened was his mom was making some kind of pasta or something. She was out of tomatoes.
Yeah.
So she told his dad to go to the store and get the tomatoes. But then while he was in that 5 minutes he was gone, somebody broke into the house and stabbed her to death. And then if Barry realizes if they never forget the tomatoes, then she might be alive.
Which that was a weird part too, because the dad's like, call the police, and then he runs out the door.
Yeah, what the hell?
Call the police, and he just runs away. He could have saved his mom then.
He could have called, if he had just called 911 instead of running down the street. Yeah, that's true. He does just run past the phone.
Yeah, he's like, Barry, call the police. And he just runs out the door.
Maybe he's running to the payphone down the street or something. I don't know. But yeah, that's true. I did forget about that. So Barry decides to go run back in time. He leaves Iris in his apartment and just leaves.
Because he's like, that's it. That's what I have to do. And then just leaves.
Yeah, he's like, this was really fun. We should do this again. And then he just leaves her there at his apartment. And then he runs really fast, but then Dark Flash comes out of the nowhere and like RKO's him out of the Speed Force, and he tumbles out in front of his house. But now he's in he doesn't realize it yet, but he's in an alternate reality where his mom didn't die.
Yeah.
And there's another Barry Allen that exists that is essentially Theodore Logan from Bill and Ted.
Yeah.
The Keanu Reeves character.
Exists. Doing nothing.
And he's a total douchebag.
Yeah, he's like really bad.
He's like the biggest asshole on the planet, which shows that if Nora Allen had survived, the Barry that we know would have been a far bigger asshole than he already is.
Yes.
Thereby proving that the timeline without her is the best timeline.
Yes. You could have a functioning, responsible adult, or you could have...
Is he functioning, though?
Yeah.
Barely.
Yeah, barely. This is like better than whatever.
Better than the other one. I'll say
the
that.
other one's like, I don't know what he's doing. But
The other one is so annoying. He's literally Ted. Like he's like Bill and Ted. He's Theodore Logan, but more annoying than that. Mm-hmm. He's got a Seth Rogen laugh.
Yes.
And he's just the worst at everything.
He's like some guy with like, I don't know, severe ADHD or something.
Yeah, he's just Ezra Miller in real life. And even Ezra Miller...
be going around calling wives sluts and breaking into people's houses.
Stealing their passports and their wallets.
And their wallets and
their booze.
Alcohol.
Yeah. So anyway, Ezra realizes that he's really is totally a jerk.
Yeah.
And he can't even deal with himself.
Yeah, I think he even says that.
He does say that.
He's like, no, that's the reason why no one likes you.
He's like, oh my god, I understand now what people have been saying all these years.
Which that is one thing. I do like the regular Barry Allen, not the...
Well, comparatively.
Yeah, comparative to the other Barry Allen that's like...
Yeah.
Really dumb.
Yeah, the other one's awful. The one that actually had his mom is awful.
Yeah, like horrible.
Which proves that all DC characters should have their parents killed.
Yeah, it's like instantly killed.
Because the ones that exist with their parents are infinitely worse than the ones that have no parents.
Exactly.
I mean, imagine how bad Bruce Wayne would have been if his parents survived.
Yeah.
There's 2 Barrys now, because if one Ezra Miller wasn't enough for
you need 2.
We got 2 now, and one's worse than the other one. And so the regular Barry's like, wait, we need to recreate the accident that created me just in case I lose my powers.
Yeah, because I think he's still thinking that if it doesn't happen, like whatever it doesn't happen, then it like he will affect him or something.
Yeah, because he doesn't realize how any of this shit works.
Yeah,
and they talk about Back to the Future, and we realize that's how he realizes he's in like a weird alternate reality, because they all talk about Eric Stoltz
from the guy that has no pants on.
Yeah, from your neighbor.
Yeah, exactly.
So there's a guy that acts like your neighbor who's sitting around with no pants on.
Yeah.
With a giant Eric Stoltz tattoo on his thigh.
Yeah, then he does this weird like yoga pose to accentuate his crotch region while he's showing him this tattoo on his leg.
Yeah. So we get the Eric Stoltz thing, which is a massive deep cut for Back to the Future fans. People might know that movie started filming with Eric Stoltz initially. They did like a week or 2 of filming and realized he sucked, and then they got Michael J. Fox. Great. But in this universe, they kept him.
Yes.
That's how we know it's a different timeline, but they keep bringing it up. And then they go to the crime, like where is it? The crime lab or something?
Yeah, they go to like his workplace, like where he worked at to get his powers, or maybe the school or something.
Yeah, it's like the school or something. Like he interned there. No, he interned there.
Is that what it is? Okay, because he's like a forensic person. So.
Yeah. So they recreate the lightning strike, but for some stupid reason, Barry tells Ted Flash about it before it happens. So then they get into an argument.
Even though he basically gave it to him without his will, like without his like permission. He just he was like, I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
It's like, no, you have to do it.
Yeah. Well, he should have just sat him down in the chair, because he was all for getting superpowers until he realized he has to get hit by lightning.
Yeah.
And then, but you should have just sat him in the chair and be like, look, just sit right there for like 10 more seconds.
Yeah.
And then you'll get your powers. And don't explain it.
Yeah,
and the lightning hits him like 5 seconds later anyway.
Other Flash is like too dumb to say anything.
Right. So the bolt goes through him, and it gives the dumb Flash powers, but it takes away the regular Flash's powers.
And his tooth.
It knocks his tooth out.
Goes into the other, and then he puts super glue onto it.
Hey.
I don't think that's how that works.
That's totally how that works.
Yeah.
If your teeth fall out, just glue it in with super glue. It's fine.
The most toxic super glue you can find.
It's definitely safe for human consumption.
Yes.
So then, shortly after, first we get a weird montage of stupid Flash running around naked, and
a couple times he scares his neighbors.
Yeah, he falls through the floor
but the other Flash is like, don't run because your clothes is too, like the friction of it. It's gonna rip your clothes off or whatever.
Yeah, but he does it anyway because he's an idiot.
Yeah.
And then he destroys half the town. And then shortly after that, Zod attacks. And they have to figure out where Superman is in order to get the Zod.
Yeah, and everyone's like, who's Superman? Don't they say, like, where's Aquaman or something?
Yeah, well, he slowly, rather quickly finds out that there's no metahumans in this universe.
Yeah.
Because he does a Google search
For Wonder Woman.
And he finds, like, a Las Vegas act. Even though, at this point in time, this is during Man of Steel, when Wonder Woman was in hiding.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't have found her on a Google search anyway.
He knows who Wonder Woman is, too.
He doesn't even look up Diana Prince. He looks up Wonder Woman.
In Paris, that works at the Louvre.
Yeah, you know where she lives.
Yeah, it works.
Like, I don't know. This movie is like a film that somebody watched Man of Steel and like Batman vs. Superman and stuff like when they came out and then never rewatched them.
Yeah.
It's like 'cause they don't know any of the details about any of these films.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about that because if you watched our other stuff, I'm like the biggest fan of Man of Steel.
Yeah.
And you'll see what I have to say about that stuff. But anyway, this guy doesn't even barely tries.
Yeah.
Arthur Curry's apparently a dog.
Yeah,
in this universe.
The guy and he's like,
he calls up Jango Fett.
Yeah, Jango Fett. He's like, a fish person came out of the water.
Yeah.
He's like, what?
And he just hangs up on him. They realize there's no metahumans.
Yeah.
But Batman exists.
And he's like, what about Batman?
Because Barry's drunk roommate says, I'm Batman.
Batman. It's like, wait, what?
And they're like, wait, so Batman exists? And they're like, yeah, nobody knows who he is, but he exists.
Like, I know who he is.
So then they go to Batman's place and you realize that this is Michael Keaton Batman.
Yeah.
But it's not really the Tim Burton universe. It's like an adjacent universe.
Yeah, it's like they just took the Batman out of Tim Burton's universe and put him in that other universe.
Yeah. But he hasn't been Batman for like 20 years.
Yeah, because he's like, I beat all the crime. All the crime is now dead. So, I'm Batman.
I'm Batman.
And I'm in retirement because there's nothing to fight for anymore.
Yeah. So we get a weird kitchen fight scene with Bruce Wayne. He explains the multiverse with spaghetti. This movie's really stupid when you explain it.
Yeah.
So anyway, they eventually figure out, but long story short, they figure out that there is a Superman, at least they think there is. And they're being held in a facility in Russia because for some reason they wanted to combine Flashpoint and Red Sun.
How'd they find out it was in Russia?
Because Batman.
That's kind of like...
Because Batman has the back door into NASA and realized that there was some kind of ship
or
that
something crashed up in like Siberia or something.
Something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know how they know that one's... Because he was looking for ones in Kansas in the specific time period. And all of a sudden he's like, no, they're just in Russia.
Like, oh, we found one that went to Siberia instead.
Yeah. But how they know that's a ship and not a meteorite, I don't remember. Because Batman. Batman. Yeah. So they get in the Batwing and they go to Russia. They break into the facility and they find out that it's not actually Superman, but it's Supergirl instead.
Yeah.
Which is kind of cool. I mean, it's not what's in the Flashpoint story, but like none of this stuff's in Flashpoint.
Yeah.
This is like the most bare bones, watered down version of Flashpoint you possibly could come up with.
There's like half the stuff like missing.
Yeah, more than half the stuff. Like 90% of the stuff is missing. Because Flashpoint's a Justice League story. It's not just a Flash story.
That's like an ending of like a universe story for DC, at least the way.
Which is basically what we're doing here.
The reboots.
Because it's going to lead into this James Gunn universe, which I thought it was, but it's not. It doesn't.
Yeah, it doesn't do anything.
So, which really makes this pointless, because this should have been like the end of the DC universe and go into another whole universe.
Yes.
But they don't do that in this. They get there, they find Supergirl. Supergirl kind of pulls like a modern Supergirl move, which is basically like, I don't want to help you guys.
Yeah, because he's like, I'm Kryptonian.
I'm a Kryptonian. You kept me in a hole in the ground for like my whole life, so
why would I help humans if you guys just poked and prodded me all day long?
Right. So she's sick of this shit. She leaves. She goes to find Zod, but then Zod just kills innocent people. So then she's like, "Okay, I'm back."
Yeah.
She's like, she comes back immediately, and she's like, "Never mind, I'll fight him."
I don't want to do that. What Zod's doing.
But then they need help to make the Flash again. And they explain to Batman that he needs to douse himself in chemicals and then shoot himself with electricity.
Doesn't he try to be like, this Flash sucks? He basically says, this Flash sucks. I need my powers back.
Basically. And Batman's like, so you want to electrocute yourself and cover yourself in toxic chemicals?
Yes.
He's like, you want some help with that?
Yeah, he's like, yeah, I'll help you.
I've known you for 20 minutes, but I'll help you kill yourself.
I could kill you. You get shocked by lightning.
Yeah, I already hate you, so let me help you with that.
Trying to Solomon Grundy.
Yeah, basically. It doesn't work, but then Supergirl comes back, and she flies up into the sky and gets hit by lightning a bunch of times, and then comes back down with a slightly toasty Barry Allen.
Like we're taking to the source.
Should have come out with the smoke coming off the top of him.
Yeah.
And so he's got his powers back.
Yeah.
We got 2 Flashes. We got one Kryptonian that's been in a hole in the ground for 20 years and has limited abilities.
Yeah.
And we got a 70-year-old Batman. And we're going to take on the full strength of Zod's army from Man of Steel.
Yes.
Which is like 30 Kryptonians in full armor.
Yeah.
Even though armor doesn't actually do anything on Earth.
Yeah.
But anyway, we're skipping over that. And so we get this infinite loop where, and this is where it gets funny, because if your argument against this movie is that Sasha Calle's Supergirl is a Mary Sue, I don't know what to say, because the whole crux of this film is that no matter how many times they fight, millions of times that they fight, Supergirl can never defeat Zod in combat. So, I don't know where that argument comes from.
Where is that argument coming from?
I think the most bare minimum argument of that is that she seems to adapt to the planet faster than Clark did, or whatever. But Zod literally adapted just by taking his helmet off and having a migraine for a minute.
Yeah.
In Man of Steel. So I don't know what to say other than maybe these people are just sexists. I mean, I don't want to... You throw these words around or whatever, but in this case, I think it's true.
Yeah, because that doesn't make any sense.
Because this is the worst example for a Mary Sue ever.
Yeah.
The plot literally hinges that no matter how many times they try this, she can't win against the guy.
Yeah. She gets stabbed multiple
She could
times.
never beat the man in a fight, no matter how many times they try.
Zod beat a baby.
Yes, we find out that Zod murdered Henry Cavill as an infant.
Off screen.
Warner Brothers' hatred of Henry Cavill goes so deep.
Then they killed him as a
They went back in time and killed him in his cradle.
Yeah, while he's in space. They hate him so much they just keep killing him as a baby.
I wonder if that's going to happen in the end of season 3 of The Witcher, too.
Probably.
The timeline shifts and they go back to Henry Cavill as a baby and just stab him in the face. So Supergirl tries valiantly, but she can't win ever. This fight, they decide instead of fighting in the city because everybody bitched and moaned about Man of Steel killing a bunch of civilians, they decide to fight in the wasteland from Dragon Ball Z.
Yes.
But it's a totally open area with no cover.
And no people around.
So they're easily overwhelmed by these Kryptonians. Yeah. At some point, Ted Flash kills Feora in a knife fight, which is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Because the Flash is only marginally faster than the Kryptonians.
Yeah.
We see that in both versions of Justice League. Superman is almost as fast as Flash.
Yeah.
These guys aren't on Superman's level, but that Ted Flash has just finally learned how to do this a minute ago. You gonna tell me he's as fast as the Barry Allen that we're used to?
Yes.
Okay, cool. And he's got a knife in his arm. Also, he got stabbed in the face 5 seconds into this fight because he didn't realize how fast the Kryptonians were.
Yeah.
And that was against a regular dude.
Yeah.
I don't know if the guys that made this know who Feora is, but according to the Man of Steel lore, she's the combat instructor for Zod's troops.
Yeah.
And she invented the martial art they use. and she beat the crap out of Kal-El in the Battle of IHOP.
Yes.
In Man of Steel, there's a fight between Feora and Clark inside IHOP.
Yeah.
And she just beats the shit out of him. So, like, she's so fast that he can barely even keep up with her.
Yeah.
So, and she's wearing her armor. So it's not even like how they beat her.
Yeah.
Because Clark punched her, like, damaged her face mask, so it, like, exposed her to the atmosphere of the planet.
Yeah.
Gave her, like, the ultimate migraine, and that's, like, how she got beaten.
Yeah.
Here, she's still wearing the armor. So somehow the dumb Flash somehow cut through her armor and slit her throat, even though she's a much better knife fighter and probably as fast as him. But whatever.
Yes.
Everybody's a Mary Sue. With that, we have to talk about another problem with this scene. Knives. How you stabbing Kryptonians.
Yeah, I know.
With ordinary knives.
With,
These are Kryptonian knives.
Kryptonian and made of kryptonite.
But they're not made out of kryptonite, though. They're just made out of metal.
They're made out of...
From Krypton.
The best titanium ever made, I guess.
I guess. I don't know. It's space titanium. Yeah, because, like...
They're made of vibranium.
They're made of vibranium. Like I said, this movie feels like somebody watched Man of Steel like 10 years ago, and they haven't watched it since.
Yes.
Or took notes.
That didn't make any sense.
No, it doesn't, because Zod repeatedly kills Kara, Supergirl,
Yeah.
with his blade arm thing
Yeah.
that he used to kill Jor-El in Man of Steel, but they did that on Krypton, where they're humans.
Yeah.
They don't have any powers on Krypton.
Because they don't expose to the sun.
But when they're on Earth, they're exposed to the yellow sun, and now they're blade-proof.
Yeah.
They're bulletproof. That's proven earlier in the movie because Supergirl gets shot like 600 times with those Russian guys, and the bullets do nothing.
Yes. Blades
her.
kill her.
But blades kill her?
Yes.
Whatever. So, yeah. Point is, Feora is way cooler than Flash. And Antje Traue, the actress that plays Feora, I don't believe for a minute she was on set at all.
Probably wasn't.
She's credited in the credits, but I think that's just because of her likeness.
Probably.
Because they're all CGI the whole time.
Yeah, that's not like real people there.
No, because they all have their helmets on, and it's... Where in Man of Steel, it looked really cool. And it was like a, kind of opaque glass or whatever.
Yeah.
That you could see their faces, but it was kind of distorted, but it looked really good.
Yeah.
That movie came out 10 years ago.
Yes.
This movie came out in 2023, and it looks like garbage.
Yeah.
Everybody's face is all distorted and crap in the helmets. It looks terrible.
Yeah.
And she looks awful. She looks like she's CGI underneath the helmet.
Probably is.
She doesn't have a single speaking line.
Yeah.
Like, I was a big fan of her in Man of Steel. I like that character a lot. And I actually thought, possibly for Man of Steel 2, she could have been the villain. At least one of them.
Yeah.
Because they get sucked into the Phantom Zone. So according to the canon, they're still alive.
Yeah, they're just out there.
Where Zod's the only one who's dead. Because he got his neck broken by Cal. Yeah. But the rest of them ended up in the Phantom Zone. So, like, they could have all returned.
Yeah.
Here, you've got the stupidest version of the Flash that just kills her with no effort. And it's like, what the hell? Like, she was like a major enemy in the first movie.
Yes.
And the comics, too, because there's actually a comic where Wonder Woman has to fight her. It's like Superman fights Zod and Wonder Woman fights Feora, and they're, like, evenly matched. Kara gets stabbed to death repeatedly with the same bullshit knife that shouldn't do anything to her, either. The only way Zod should be able to kill Kara is, like, with his bare hands.
Yes.
That's the only way any of these Kryptonians should be able to be killed, is with the bare hands of another Kryptonian.
You can't use any other weapons on them.
Like, Batman and the two Flashes basically are useless.
Yeah. They can't do anything to anyone.
They wouldn't be able to hurt the Kryptonians. They even say that.
Yeah.
Barry Allen's like, look, we're not going to be able to kill them, so all we can do is slow them down.
Yeah.
But then he kills the strongest one of them all.
Yeah.
Somehow. Except for Zod.
With
but
his blade.
With the blade. It's like, whatever. Batman tries to fight Namek, which is the big giant one. For some reason, they're really hyped up about the space giant. But,
yes.
like, nobody cares about Feora. That's actually this really tough one.
Yeah. That's the big one.
They're scared about the big guy because he's big.
Yes.
And Michael Keaton tries to blow him up with a bunch of charges, but it doesn't work.
Yeah.
And then he dies repeatedly.
Yeah, they just keep killing him constantly.
Kara dies repeatedly. And then they run into the Speed Force thing. The two Flashes realize they need to keep this loop going or whatever. Try to figure out a way to do it. Then, Real Flash doesn't really want to do it.
He's like, we can't do it.
He's like, this is like an unbreakable loop.
Yeah, there's nothing you can do.
Barry, we can't do it, Barry. And then Barry's like, but no, Barry, we can do it.
We have like dumb Barry.
We can save Kara because I love her, even though we just met.
Yeah, we could save everyone.
We could save everyone. And it's like, no, we can't.
So regular Barry's like the smart one. So he realizes you can't do it.
So the other Barry keeps doing it over and over and over again. Eventually it starts ripping fissures across universes.
Yeah.
And then this is when they really bring out the budget.
Yeah.
For the worst CGI you've ever seen since Matrix Reloaded.
Yeah.
And we get to see other universes like the George Reeves Superman. So like the 50s Superman. Christopher Reeve's Superman, who's joined by the god-awful Supergirl from the 80s movies.
Yeah, I think you see another version of the Flash, like the original Flash.
We do, yeah. It's the, whatever, Garrick or something.
And then you see, I think,
Adam West.
Adam West Batman.
Trying to get rid of that bomb.
Yeah, getting rid of the bomb.
Some days you just can't get rid of a bomb.
Yeah.
Hilariously enough, that's the end of Batman Begins. Or, Dark Knight Rises, actually.
Oh, is it?
It literally ends with Batman trying to get rid of a bomb.
Yeah, there you go.
And then it blows up in his face.
There you go.
So, some days you still can't get rid of a bomb.
No.
But anyway, yeah, we see that, and then we see the greatest part of the whole damn movie, Nicolas Cage Superman.
Yes.
Fighting a giant fucking spider.
Finally, you can actually see him in the action, I guess you could say.
Finally.
Even though it looks like a PS2 game.
Well, everything looks like a PS2 game.
Yeah.
But the point is, Nick Cage is there.
Yes.
Allegedly, Andy Muschietti says Nick Cage was on set filming that, which makes me even more mad, because why did you turn him into a PS2 character then?
Yeah.
But whatever. We got it. We got Nick Cage fighting a giant spider.
And then everything else is collapsing around itself.
The rest of the movie collapses on itself after that.
Like all universe are just collapsing on itself.
Yeah, they show Christopher Reeve for like a second, and they show his universe collapsing on his head.
It's literally him dying.
Great. So, and it actually closes with them trying to reverse it, and it causes the universes to not collapse on themselves.
Yeah.
And the very last thing you see of any of that is Nick Cage looking at Barry Allen.
Yeah.
So it's like the main focus is on Nick Cage.
Yeah.
I guess we'll talk about what we would have done differently or something after we're done with the synopsis.
Yeah.
But I have some things to say about that. And that's basically it. They realize that the Flash realizes this is a dead end.
Yeah, he can't fix it.
So he realized the only way to stop this is go back and prevent what he already just did, which was save his mom. So you basically have to kill his mom to prevent this from happening. And then Dark Flash jumps out of nowhere. We realize that Dark Flash is actually dumb Barry after like the 10 millionth attempt at this. And he goes to stab the real Flash because he knows he's going to go back to try to kill their mom.
Yeah.
And the other Flash jumps in and gets stabbed instead, which causes the paradox, and he just disappears because he killed himself.
Yeah.
And then real Barry goes back, takes the can of tomatoes off his mom's cart, but then puts it up high on the shelf because originally in the regular timeline, they had footage of his dad going to the store, but you couldn't see his face.
Yeah.
So now he looks up, and of course his mom still dies, but in the other timeline, his dad's exonerated because now the new footage shows that it was him and he was at the store.
Yeah.
Even though Nora was killed while he was in the driveway of the house.
Yeah.
So he still could have gone back and killed her.
Yeah, exactly.
Because she literally died like 2 seconds before he came into the house.
Yeah. Yes.
Because in Flashpoint, I think Reverse Flash is the one that killed his mom.
Yeah, that's how the story normally goes.
Yeah. Which explains why no one's there, and then she screams and dies, and then 1 second later, no one's there
Yeah,
again.
exactly.
Because it was a Speed Force user that killed her. But
Yeah, like some fast user, which they changed that ending. Like, they changed that Flash ending. I don't know why.
I have no idea. But because he's like in the driveway about to open the door, and that's when she gets stabbed.
Yeah.
So him being at the store means nothing.
Yeah.
Because it literally happened the moment he came home.
Yeah.
Okay. So everything's happily ever after. I mean, sort of. His mom's still dead, but now his dad's out of prison. We get this scene where Bruce Wayne's driving up, and he gets out of the car, and it's George Clooney.
Yeah, and then bat nipples come out.
Bat nipples. He gets his bat credit card out.
Yeah, get bat credit card out and then throws it in.
And Arnold Schwarzenegger shows up.
Yes.
The Ice Age.
Yeah.
But that's pretty much the end of the regular movie because George Clooney comes out and he's like, I'm Bruce Wayne. And Barry's like, no, you're not. He's like, yeah, I am. And then Barry's tooth falls out.
Yeah,
Again.
that's like the end of the movie.
And then the credits roll and we get more of that beautiful footage of that bad CGI dog that looks like the dog from The Mask.
Yes.
A movie that's 35 years old or whatever.
At this point, yeah.
And that's it. And then we get one post-credit scene. That ending was approved by James Gunn. No doubt the dog CGI was also approved by James Gunn. And then the final post-credit scene is Aquaman, where Barry's trying to explain to Aquaman how the Speed Force works and how alternate timelines work. Aquaman's drunk off his ass, which I wish I was, honestly, while watching this movie. And Barry's like trying to take him back to his apartment, and he says, my apartment's right there. You're going to sleep on my couch. And then given the choice of going to Ezra Miller's house and sleeping on his couch,
yeah,
or sleeping face down in a muddy puddle in the street, Arthur Curry does the right thing and chooses to sleep in the puddle in the street.
Yes.
He's like, I live here.
I don't want to see your Ezra Miller shrine.
Right. So
your Flash shrine.
The final moment of the film is when given the option to spend the night at Ezra Miller's house or spend the night in a dirty puddle in the street, always choose the puddle in the street.
Yes.
It's the cleaner and safer option of the two.
Yes.
And that is The Flush.
Yeah.
The Flash, a fantastic movie that I really love.
Praised by Tom Cruise.
Tom Cruise's favorite film of all time.
Yes, exactly.
That I guarantee you didn't
Top
watch.
Gun Maverick.
Yeah, I guarantee you never watched it. But according to WB, Tom Cruise's favorite movie.
Yes.
And also, it's the reason to run to cinemas, says Flash Film News.
There you go.
According to the teaser trailer that was released about a week before it came out.
Yes.
The greatest marketing campaign of all time. It's bordering on the fake Frosty the Snowman movie that they announced several years ago.
Yes.
It's amazing. It's one of the greatest things I've ever seen in my life.
The Flash, a fantastic movie that I really love.
So, what do you think of the Flush?
Being how bad the CGI is, being how annoying Barry Allen is,
Yeah.
like other Barry Allen, being how the story is very inconsistent, I will probably give it like a 3.
A 3.
Because it's not a very good movie. It's like really bad. Shows because of how many directors have probably been through and how many rewrites.
Yeah.
It shows like how bad it was.
It's a mess. Honestly, since I did 90% of this synopsis, and you probably could feel the sarcasm coming out of me.
Yeah.
There's parts I like. Let me say what I like. I like Sasha Calle as Supergirl.
Yeah, the Supergirl did a pretty job.
I don't think we're ever going to see her again, unfortunately.
No, yeah, I'm sure James Gunn's going to pick someone else at this point.
I think she was fine. I think she did a pretty good job. they did sort of what I like about Supergirl, where she's kind of more
Yeah.
jaded than Superman and doesn't really trust humanity and all that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. I liked seeing the Man of Steel stuff again, except for how poorly done it is. It almost pissed me off more.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's a plus or not.
Yeah.
Michael Keaton Batman was cool.
Yeah, Michael Keaton was pretty good. That Batman was actually really good.
We could have got much better, but I mean, it's cool seeing him again. I like the Nick Cage thing, of course, but I wish they had done it without the terrible CG.
Yeah.
And is there anything else I like about this movie? That might be it. So I'm going to go with, I don't know, like a 4 out of 10.
4 out of 10.
I think. It's not one of the best.
Yeah. I mean, I did like some of the cameo appearances. Those were pretty good.
Cameos are cool, but that's literally like seconds.
Yeah.
Like the best you can give that is like 1 point.
Which I know, like, that's kind of like how DC is, because they're not, like, the way their like new stories are always multiverses, so it kind of makes sense. At the same time, it's like, it's kind of dumb.
I did like the regular Barry Allen.
Yeah, regular Barry Allen is not annoying.
The other
Barry Allen.
Annoying Barry Allen does have funny moments.
Yeah.
But it's almost like one of those situations, because the real Ezra Miller is such a train wreck,
Yeah.
that it's hard to overlook that.
Yeah.
If they weren't that way, like say they didn't go to Hawaii and terrorize the populace for a month, they didn't choke slam people in Iceland or whatever, then this movie probably be much more palatable.
Yeah.
And the character would be much more likable, because I do think Ezra Miller does do a decent Barry Allen.
Yeah.
Like, it's funny. But coupled with all the weird crap that they do in real life, that causes it to lose some points.
Yeah.
And this movie focuses so much on them because it's the Flash.
You can't
like,
separate it.
how do you avoid Barry Allen in the Flash?
Yeah.
Like, you can't. So I think this is an unfortunate film to kind of close the DCEU on, even though it doesn't, because there's still 2 more movies.
Yeah, because you still have
Blue Beetle.
Blue Beetle and also Aquaman.
Yeah, which I'm hearing
2.
Aquaman 2 is going to be terrible from like the early
It's probably going to be bad.
screenings and stuff. And Blue Beetle, I don't know about that. Apparently James Gunn is now owning Blue Beetle and saying it's the start of his universe.
Blue Beetle, a fantastic film.
Well, he keeps
But how's
changing
that
everything.
work?
He said that Aquaman 2 was. He like doesn't know what's the start of his universe.
And then into Aquaman 2, which leads directly into our next few projects.
Yeah, so that's about all I can say about The Flash. So let's talk about DC in general.
Yeah.
Got a few more minutes, I guess. So recently we got news. We got the new Superman.
Henry Hobble.
Henry Hobble, yeah. So the new Superman is named, what's his name? David Sweetcorn or something? David Corn Sweat.
Sweet corn, yeah, something like that. I can see where they got him from, because he's like, they have a lot of corn in Kansas. So let's get the guy named Corn Sweat or whatever.
Corn Sweat. So I've never seen this guy in anything. He was in, what was he in? Pearl?
Yeah.
Which
He got stabbed in it.
Yeah, he gets
I think.
stabbed to death by Mia Goth. So she must have stabbed him with a Kryptonian dagger.
Yeah, so it's the regular dagger.
It's a regular old dagger they have in
They
Krypton.
found in the ground.
Yeah. I was going to say it had to be a kryptonite dagger, but I guess not, because
No.
the Flash, you can just stab Kryptonians. So, like, you could just stab Superman with a knife and kill him.
Yes. He just can't get shot.
Because bullets don't do anything, but knives kill him.
Yes.
Cool. So, yeah, the new guy, really glad he doesn't look anything like Henry Cavill.
That's so weird. It's like they basically got another actor that looked exactly the same as the old actor.
Yeah.
Because they hate him so much, they have to kill him as a baby.
But he's like 9 years younger or something. Because we're doing ageism at 40 now.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't say anything about this guy. I don't know enough about him.
what I've heard is he actually is a good, decent actor. So
He went to like Juilliard or something.
Yeah.
So
I did hear that he is actually a good actor. So
Yeah.
I don't really know though because I have never seen Pearl.
I'm sure he's good. It's
He
just,
just looks exactly like Henry Cavill.
yeah, like too much like Henry
It's
Cavill.
scary, like how close he looks.
It's weird. Unless, like, this is the prequel, and they want to do an early story, and then we can use Henry Cavill for later stories, but I don't think that's what's going to happen. That's just wishful thinking.
I'm pretty sure James Gunn doesn't want Henry Cavill. I'm sure Henry Cavill doesn't want to be doing it.
That's
anymore.
true, too. I'm tired. I think he's done being jerked around.
I think
In
like
James
that, yeah.
Gunn's own words, he's
Yeah.
done being jerked around by the studio
Yeah,
or
exactly.
whatever he said. He said something like that.
Yeah.
That he felt like Henry Cavill's been being screwed over by the studio left and right
And then
or
he
whatever.
fired
And then he fired him. You put him out of his misery.
Yes.
So we'll see how that pans out. I don't know what to think about the DC universe under Gunn. I do really like James Gunn's film so far. I like the Suicide Squad a lot.
Yeah.
I liked Peacemaker Season 1. I love the Guardians of the Galaxy movies. So there's a good chance it could be good, but we'll see.
Yeah.
But my concern is even if it is good, our general audience is going to watch it.
Yeah, because it's been like some bombs. They've been having some flops really badly.
Lately, every superhero movie has done terrible except for
like Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
right.
But that's an established franchise.
Yeah.
If it was like Guardians of the Galaxy 1 now, I don't know if it would have done as good.
Probably not. I mean, Quantumania tanked.
Yeah.
Shazam 2 tanked. Black Adam tanked.
Flush did.
Flush tanked. Flush is set to be like one of the biggest losses for a
Yeah.
studio ever.
Like, it's like really bad.
I think its worldwide gross right now is like 218 million or
Yeah,
something.
it's like horrible.
It's like really, really bad. So I don't know what DC's going to do. I don't know if DC's going to survive in another decade.
They might have to like sell the company.
Yeah. Sell the characters. Just sell them to Disney.
Yeah, sell them to Disney.
And then you end up with a crossover event.
Yes.
I mean, we've had Marvel DC crossovers in comics before.
Yeah.
I don't think any of them were any good, but they've done it before.
Yeah.
All right, so I think that's going to be it for the Flush and the future DC news. So if you saw the movie, let us know in the comments below. Our extremely pessimistic review might not go over too well with some people, because I know some people really enjoy this movie, and that's fine. If you like it, cool. I'm not going to argue with you, but yeah, it just wasn't for us.
Yeah, it was. Out of superhero movies, it doesn't stack up very well.
No, and I'm a huge fan of Man of Steel. I like BVS, and I love like Zack Snyder's Justice League.
Yeah.
So I do like the Snyder. I'm not a Snyder bro.
Yeah.
Like I am in the sense that I love his movies, but I'm not one of the people that harasses people
Yeah.
online and does all that crap. I don't stand for that garbage. But I do enjoy the trilogy that he put out in the first Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
But I think almost everything else DC's put out has been garbage, except for like the Suicide Squad.
Yeah, it's DC in general. I don't know if it's direction or what, but it's just like not clicking very well.
No, it's a mess. And I think we live in a weird timeline where we got the crap. It's like the Flashpoint thing, where there's a certain point in time where everything diverges into trash.
Yeah.
I think that point in time was when the Joss Whedon Justice League came out.
Yeah.
And then that was the first like big bomb into DCEU.
Yeah.
And then I think they've been juggling ever since. They don't know what to do.
Because everything is like $300 million or $400 million.
They need to stop that shit. One
And
thing,
they all bomb.
one thing I did hear, I don't know if it's true or not, but I heard the budget for the Superman movie that's coming out with James Gunn is $75 million.
That's pretty good.
If that's true, then that alone could save it.
Yeah, they need a movie that's like not super duper expensive. Which I know they tried to do that with who was the director before that? Hamada, whatever his name was.
Well, he was like the CEO. Or
Yeah,
something.
and I think he was like his whole thing was supposed to make him cheaper.
Yeah, it was
but
like
it
that
didn't
was
work.
he didn't do that. Like they
He made
got
it more expensive.
That's true. They got him because he did like the Conjuring films or
Yeah.
something. And he came from horror, and horror notoriously does more with a budget.
Yeah,
Because horror movies typically are like $10-20 million max.
Yeah.
And you can get CG that's on par with, well, better than this shit, but on par with like much more expensive movies.
Yeah.
And that they didn't do that. Like, they got this guy that was supposed to make movies on the cheap, and he's dropping $250 million again.
Yeah.
So if James Gunn can actually do that and really do it,
yeah,
I think it could work. The CW recently, apparently season 3, I haven't been watching Superman and Lois. Apparently it's good.
Yeah.
But I haven't been watching it. But I guess season 3 had a scene where Superman fought Doomsday. And it looked decent. It's a CW show.
So they can actually do it.
Yeah. Like on a CW budget, you had a decent looking fight between Superman and Doomsday. It looked better than The Flash.
Yeah.
So it can be done.
Yeah.
And if you take like other countries, for example, like Shin Ultraman, it's not outstanding graphics, but I mean, it's got some aerial fights between like Ultraman and Kaiju and stuff.
Yeah.
That look pretty decent, and the movie's only like a $15 million budget or $10 million budget or something like that.
Yeah, I think as long as you have to do some, I think with like tricks of whatever, the film or whatever, you can do it, because you have to kind of hide some of the stuff, because you're not spending all that money on it, but at the same time...
Also, hiring actors don't command like $20 million salaries, like David Cornsweet or whatever. I don't think.
Yeah, he's probably getting for the cheap or whatever.
Yeah, he's probably a cheap actor.
Yeah.
Compared to Cavill.
Probably.
That could be why they let Cavill go. Maybe Cavill.
That's actually probably that was my thinking was they probably didn't want to spend money on it. They probably wanted to cut back on prices, I'm sure.
It could be. Yeah, maybe he cost too much. I heard he demanded really high salaries before.
I'm sure.
So, yeah, that's possible. So anyway, yeah, I think that's going to be it for our conjecture on DC. If you have any thoughts about DC in the future, let us know. Let us know what movie you're looking forward to on James Gunn's slate.
Yeah.
And of course, as I said, let us know what you thought about The Flash, and if you're looking forward to Blue Beetle and Aquaman 2. So if you like this video, leave a like. Consider subscribing for more content like this in the future, and you too could feel the strength welling within. See ya.
See ya.